Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Now, Guillaume Tendron.
It's me.
Sorry, thank you.
You don't remember me?
Of course I do. You are a sales manager at France's Nov-BLM that manufactures on-board ship equipment, jacking and mooring systems.
Correct.
Thank you for joining us. Please hold the microphone really close to your mouth.
Sorry, I'm not used to this.
No worries. So to what extent are you seeing demand skyrocketing?
Yeah, the European market is targeting 120 gigawatts, sorry, by 2030, and we expect to target 300 gigawatt by 2050. And the wind turbine capacity today is in the range of 8 to 12 megawatts. And we know that manufacturers of turbines are looking at 15 megawatts turbines and even talking about 20 megawatt turbines. So the vessels are very limited today, and the demand is increasing with this new capacity, with lifting, more loading capacity and lifting capacities.
And you're already feeling that impact in your company?
Yeah. We have provided the jacking systems for Voltaire, owned by Jan de Nul, and we are currently executing projects with even bigger vessels. And in addition to that, we see some markets that are emerging, like Asia and US, with new, let's say, with new challenges and regulation, like Jones Act. Jones Act states that any vessel berthing to US ports must be built in US shipyards, conducted by US citizen crews.
And offshore wind farms count as a port.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that has an impact on your activity.
Yeah, Jones Act, for example, leads to new constraints for our customers. So we are all together trying to find solutions to innovate, of course, and to build new equipment, such as feeder vessels, jacking. So yeah, we are working together with the customers to provide new equipment.
We heard earlier from Liz Burdock from the US that the Jones Act wasn't really a concern really for anybody because there were solutions. Do you have the same impression, or is there a lot of anxiety in your sector, in your area?
Yeah, there is constraint. The number of shipyards is limited. Building such vessels in the US is very challenging in terms of pricing and delivery. So as I mentioned, we are trying all together with the customer, trying to innovate and to find, let's say, alternative solutions. And this leads to new product development, but not only products, but also complete solutions and complete systems, complete new systems. Yeah.
So as I said, you're providing mooring systems for floating offshore wind farms. Yep. And it might not be that straightforward, actually, to know what to provide in that market in the future, something that's also the case for vessels. Tell us more about that aspect.
In floating, you mean?
What did I say? Did I not say floating? I meant to say floating offshore wind farms, sorry.
Yeah, floating wind market is also challenging. The first main topic is the supply chain and availability of supply chain availability and industrialization. The capacity of the ports as well is challenging, and of course the availability of vessels with capacities for towing installations, with big chain sizes, big anchors, and huge projects. Yeah.
All right, and how are you preparing for that in your company?
Of course, we are discussing as early as possible with the customers. So we require to the customers to involve us as soon as possible in the project and trying to find solutions to serve these markets.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Guillaume Tendron. Nicolas Riviere.
Yep.
You're a shipbroker at Offshore Renewables at BRS Group. As a shipbroker, you help clients build, buy, or charter vessels, and you have seen many vessels being ordered over the past 12 months in the offshore wind energy sector, haven't you? Or is it a bottleneck for you? How tight is the market right now?
There is a lot of appetite in the market to build new ships. Today, over the last 20 years, I think we built a 60 gigawatt capacity of wind farms, and according to the plans from the different governments and things, the target would be to have 260 delivered or in construction in 2030. That will not manage with the existing fleet, definitely not. So there will be more vessels of all type in the full chain, from transportation, from installation, foundation installation, wind turbine installation, CSOVs, CTVs, and so on. That will be that will come. And that's mostly for the bottom fix. And then after we'll move to the floating wind, which is a super hot topic these days. Everybody is very excited in this market. And here it's even more simple. There is no dedicated vessel today. Just an example, the high wind Tendron floating wind turbine that was commissioned by Equinor last year and this year. There are 11 turbines. It took one full summer season and 3 high-end anchor handlers. So 3 high-end anchor handlers, 11 turbines, 1 year, 1 season. And now we are talking about 26, 27 wind farms of 50 turbines. So how many of these vessels you will need in 26, 27, compared to how many vessels there is in this market today? And today there is less than 100 vessels in this market. And these vessels are not waiting for the wind turbine. These vessels are busy with FPSO mooring, with towing, and so on and so on. So there are absolutely no vessel dedicated to this market yet. And then, once we install this floating turbine, there will be the maintenance. And now it's even more interesting because we don't know, how we will maintain this turbine. Today, there is on the Kincardine floating project, they are towing back a turbine that was offshore Aberdeen to Rotterdam for maintenance. It's impossible to do that when you have 50 turbines or and so on. So there is very exciting market, lots of ideas, lots of design, a lot of people willing to come into this market, but the solution is not not on the table yet.
What do you say? What are you thinking could be a solution to that? How could you ramp up quickly to build more vessels, for example?
So it's complicated to build vessels quickly. There's several things. When you build this kind of vessels, there's lots of technology, so they will be expensive, very expensive. So you, as a ship owner or an investor, you want to make sure that the vessel is fit for purpose, that she will not be obsolete after 2-3 years. So we see lots of wait and see a bit in the market, and also wait and see in terms of technology, and wait and see in terms of which project will be developed. We saw again with Equinor the Trollwind floating project that has been postponed until no date. So that's only one project, but we see both in bottom fixed and floating that certain projects tend to go to the right. So the question is, do I really need to build a vessel now? Because if I build a vessel now, she will be delivered in 25 or 26. Let's say 26 base case. Will she have work in 26? How confident I can be that she will go to work in 26 if certain of these projects are being pushed to the right? So that's a bit there is a need for vessel, sure, but when and how these vessels will be built, I don't think that in the next 3 months or 6 months there will be a big rush of new building. And then the second point is the technology, but something very basic. A deck carrier is a vessel that is transporting the monopiles from their manufacturing site, typically in Asia, to a working site. And the question is, what is the beam? What kind of beam on my deck carrier should I have? Because I want to transport as many monopiles as possible, but it has to make sense. So the beam will depend on the diameter of a monopile. But what will be the diameter of a monopile in 5 years or 10 years? Then we are lots of questions. I think maybe something that has been very positive in the last weeks is that we have seen developers like RWE taking vessels on long-term charter, taking the 2 vessels from Yandernul, the foundation installation Les Alizés and the jackup Voltaire on long-term charter, meaning that they are by then they are trying to support the ship owner, saying that okay, I'll commit to your utilization, so you'll have 5 years utilization or 5 years. So it starts to be so commit to your utilization for 5 years. I mean the technology, we're okay with your technology, we're okay with your price, and I guess that we will see that more and more for some kind of asset. Developer taking long-term commitment in order to get the vessel built and delivered.
So there are some solutions on the horizon, probably.
Yeah. No, there will be, but it's who is taking the risk, who is willing to taking the risk, what kind of risk that we can control or cannot control. But it's not a big problem because in the shadow we are working with the ship owner, we are working with the ship designer, we are working with the yard to work on the design. We are working with the developer. We are presenting some design or some ideas to developer, to ship owners. So it's not waiting and push a button. It's working, preparing, and push the button when it's the right timing.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
insight, Nicolas Riviere. Christof, Westland, you are software and data lead at Heerema Engineering Solutions. Thank
Correct.
you for being here.
Thank you.
Your company 2 years ago came up with a new software that's called software package that's called Metis. What exactly is this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I hope to shed some light on that question. Well, first of all, Heerema Engineering Solutions is a consultancy and engineering firm within the offshore renewable industry. You might know our bigger sister company, Heerema Marine Contractors, operating these big crane vessels. And when we started Heerema Engineering Solutions 4 years ago, well, we had quite some talks to our clients, and that's mainly offshore wind developers. And the main topic that came up over and over again with these different clients was logistics and transportation and integrating all these different packages in order to get the wind farm in place. And that was actually not a very straightforward question we could answer back at the time. And we also couldn't find any software packages in the market that could help us out with answering these questions. So that's when we decided to develop Metis. And what Metis does is actually you give it a set of constraints, you give it a set of assets, and that is transportation assets from fabrication yards to marshalling yards, for example. Transportation assets that can transport turbine components from a marshalling yard to the offshore wind site. Installation assets, crane vessels, tugs. You give it a whole set of assets and constraints. And this software package will solve the schedule for you. It will show you the different options on how to get all the components in place. But it will also very clearly show you where the risks are. And that's not only risks on weather downtime, for example, but also which activities are critical with respect to, for example, equipment breakdown, delays, what else? Vessel availability, for example. And we integrate all of this because you cannot look at logistics only from an installation perspective or only from an intermediate transport perspective. You have to overlook the whole process from very early fabrication to commissioning and O&M later on. So that's what we developed over the last 2 years. It's operational. We use it a lot on projects that we do for our clients. So I hope that is a bit clear.
And so you, how far advanced are you with that package? Is it already everywhere in the market, or?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we're also still playing a bit with that. At the moment, we still use it as an internal tool to advise our clients, and that basically means that we do the analysis for our clients. So we have very good conversations with our clients, ask where their questions are, what kind of challenges they have, and we implement that in the software. We do analysis on that, and then we optimize the schedule, and then it's a sort of iterative process, right? So we check where the bottlenecks are, if we can make any optimizations, if you can make use of different vessel spreads. But we are now also slowly moving into really selling the software, because we feel that there's also a need for these kind of software packages to do the analysis yourself as an offshore wind developer.
Is this going to be the solution, or do we still need more vessels, do you think?
Well, of course, it's not the only solution, but it's part of the puzzle. And in order to solve this, well, it's a big challenge, right? There's a big shortage of transportation vessels in the market, also installation vessels. Well, especially now with the larger frame agreements, big installation vessels going off the market for 5+ years. Well, we need to be clever. We need to optimize on vessel availability. We need to look at, well, multiple projects as a whole. What we're currently also doing for clients is look at vessel availability of different contractors, different ship owners, and see if we can make a combination out of that. And that way, yeah, we can solve part of the puzzle, but, well, as my colleagues here, I call them colleagues, explained is, well, the market is booming and there's a lot of projects coming up. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we also need more vessels, but at least we can make the process a bit more efficient.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for taking part in this panel. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.